I wasn't feeling very good yesterday, but Baruch Hashem, back today. Okay. Is Basia here? Not yet? Okay, I'll wait to finish attendance after.
Okay, let's start with a Dylan for Yisrael. Let's see Hashem's miracles there. Complete total victory for Bnei Yisrael. Lam Natsayach Mizmor David. Yan Chadinoi B'Yom Tzara Yisagem Hashem Elohei Yaakov. Yizker Kol Mechasecha V'Yodoscha Yodashne Selo. Yitin Lecha Chelvavecha V'Chalatzascha Yemalu. L'Radana B'Shuasecha V'Shem Eloheinu Nidgem. Yemali Adonai Kol Meshalesecha. Atu Yedaiti Ki Yeshia Adonai Meshichei. Yarnehu Mishmei Kochei. B'Gureis Yesha Yeminei. Eila V'Rechev V'Eila B'Susim V'Nachnu B'Shem Adonai Eloheinu Nazkir. Heima Korban Afalu V'Nachnu Kamnu V'Nesedod. Adonai Yeshia Melech Yaneinu V'Yem Koreinu. So we have Mamar Lech, if anyone doesn't have. So we are in the booklet on page 2. We're still in Ois Aleph of the Mamar. Ayem Avaya Lavrom Lech Lecha Tov Shin Beis. It's 1942. So he asked the questions about the word Lech Lecha. Why does it say Lech Lecha? And he brings the answer given by the Alshech. That Lech Lecha means go to you, to the source of your neshama. And then everything you do will have the desired effect, will really have a true impact, both in terms of what you do and accomplish l'mayla, and the ability to draw down from the Maila down here. What does it mean, go to your Etza Neshama? So the Maimon explains the fact that the Neshama doesn't come into the Guf in a way that it's completely invested in the Guf. Most of the Neshama remains the Maila, which means remains in the same way that it was before, that it's connected to Hashem, and it sees openly and feels openly all the things that are going on in the spiritual realm. There's a small part of the neshama, which we call a ha'ara. Ha'ara means just like a rays or a reflection. Over the neshama, a little part of the neshama, people open the windows here, I guess it's not cold enough. Besides the fact that when the windows open, oh, we can't have any guests, there's gates there, okay. That the neshama is in the guf. Is a small measure that's called ha'ara, reflection. So now, it says, where do we find this in the Gemara? This is the story in Gemara where it says that Daniel saw a vision, a nevuah, and as a result of what he saw, he was overcome with awe, he was shaking with fear. But not only he, the people that were around him were also shaking with fear. And the Gemara asks why, they didn't see anything. And the Gemara answers, they didn't see, but their mazel saw. So we see from this two things. Number one, we see the such thing called as a mazel, which means the higher level of the neshama, which is not limited by the guf, that part of the neshama sees what's going on in the Maila. But there was another point here. not everybody will have that fear. I mean, there's a lot going on in the Maila, and as far as we're concerned, we don't know the difference. We're not moved at all. The fact that they were moved and they were overcome with fear, what does that show? That's an indication that the part of the neshama that was in their body is in close connection with the part of the neshama that's the Maila. In other words, they were themselves also great tzaddikim and neviim, Hanani, Mishael, and Azariah. But an ordinary person could have been there and nothing would happen to him. Why? Even though his neshama would also see what's going on up there, but not necessarily was his neshama having an impact on the part of the neshama that's in the body in a conscious way. I can't tell if anyone heard what I said or not. Is it understood? They have a question? Makes sense? Got it?
Heard, yes, but
Yeah.
understood, no.
Oh, okay. At least I hear something. Again, we're saying they didn't see anything, but they were overcome with fear. Why? Because the neshama l'mayla saw. But the truth is, millions of people have a neshama l'mayla, and everybody's neshama l'mayla sees, but not everybody is overcome with fear. So by them, there was an additional point that their neshama l'mayla and then the conscious neshama down here were connected in a stronger way. So they were affected by what the neshama sees up there. Other people, ordinary people, the neshama l'mayla sees what's going on, but we're totally unaware when there's no reaction in our conscious mind.
So you want to say that they have neshama connected up and down?
The neshama is connected up and down, but the question is, how strong of a connection is it? In other words, right now we're all sitting in this room. Our neshamas l'mayla are hearing the words of the Maimer, and they're doing somersaults. They're getting all excited about the deep secrets of Torah that are being revealed. But we in this room, we don't feel anything. Yeah, I can't talk for everybody here. I don't know.
I
But-
remember, I do some somersaults after class.
So the neshama l'mayla sees it, but we are not aware of it. We're totally. It's as if it doesn't exist. But by these people, they were so connected to the neshama l'mayla that when the neshama l'mayla experiences awe, experiences simcha, experiences whatever, down here they feel it. They might not see what it sees, but it feels what the neshama l'mayla feels. That means that their contact with the neshama l'mayla is much stronger.
Rabbi Majeski, why did it use the word mazel though?
So the word mazel in Hebrew, that's why it brings a pasuk, v'noizli min levana, it means it flows. It's the part of the neshama that flows, from there it flows to the neshama down here. So when it says v'noizli min levana, so in context of what we're speaking now, Levanon, the word Levanon, which actually is the name of a place, but up Chassidus, Levanon is the Etzem HaNeshama, Kameshi L'mayla. I'm going back to the Maimer. So we're in the middle of the page. First line on the page is Uksiv. Uksiv and Neizle Min Levanon. And it says, "V'noizle min Levanon." The Levanon, even though literally Levanon is the name of a place, who etzem haneshama k'meishi l'mayla. It's referring to the essence of the neshama, the way it's up there before it comes down. The neshama l'mayla, which is above the limitations of the guf, sees everything, hears everything, feels everything. So why is the etzem neshama called Levanon? What's the connection to the word Levanon? Levanon is made up of two words: Lamed Beis Nesivas Chachma and Nun Shari Bina. Levanon is the gematria of Lamed Beis is 32. There's a pasuk in Mishlei where it says there are 32 paths of wisdom. And it's connected to the fact that that we have 32 teeth. 32 teeth are connected to the paths of wisdom.
Wisdom teeth.
What?
We didn't say wisdom teeth.
That's why they call it wisdom teeth, yeah. But there's no,
So I have less wisdom.
there's more wisdom than what you have in your teeth, though, yeah. So there's 32 paths of wisdom, and there's nun, share, bina. In other words, one is chachma, one is bina. In chachma, there are 32 paths. Where do we find the 32 in Torah mitzvahs? One of the places is tzitzis. A man wears tzitzis on each corner of the garment. How much is there on each corner? How many strings? How would you know? 8. 8 strings. And 8 times 4 is 32. So with the tzitzis, the talis, they also explain that this is connected to the 32 paths of Chokhmah. And what's 50? Nun Shari Bina, 50 gates of Bina. And this is referring to Chokhmah or Bina Shebe'etzem HaNeshama. The Chokhmah and the Bina, that is in the essence of the Neshama. Again, even though this concept is brought down in Kabbalah, but the basis is actually found, if you want to look in Gemara, page 34. Page 34, where it says, where it's underlined, Rav Shmuel, there's a difference between Rav and Shmuel about a certain interpretation of a pasuk, but one of them says, Chamishim Shari Bina Nivra Ba'elam. There are 50 gates of Bina created in the world, and they were all given to Moshe except for one, which means he reached the 49th gate. And this is also the reason why the Torah was given 50 days after Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, because Ronnie here, we're using this book. Oh, you have one? Okay, thank you. 50 days after Yidden went out of Mitzrayim, they were able to receive the Torah, which means every day that passed, they were able to access another one of the gates of wisdom. By the time they accessed all 50 gates of wisdom, now they were ready to receive the Torah. That's the number 50 in Torah, and that's the number 32 that's found in Torah. It's referring to the Chokhmah and Bina in the Etzem HaNeshama. The next page, on page 35, I guess, you have the pasuk V'neiz Lamin Levanim. 35? No, 34.
It wasn't just about impurity when they were, it
So Lebanon is actually Lebanon. What?
wasn't just about impurity when they get in, we're leaving time and going to Mount Torah, like wasn't it the gates of
No,
impurity?
it's all interconnected. It's 50 gates of impurity, 50 gates of purity, but the 50 gates of purity are the 50 gates of Bina.
Oh, interesting.
In essence, this was preparing for Matan Torah. Torah is understanding and wisdom, so
Right,
it was the
makes
50
sense.
gates of Bina. Why wasn't it Chokhmah? Why Bina? That's another discussion, but it's definitely connected to wisdom. So if you look over here, the pasuk says Neizlev min Levanon. It flows from Lebanon, and the commentary Rashi says that these are streams of water that flow from Lebanon. It's pure. It's not clouded with mud and other things. So there's something about the hills of Lebanon and the water of Lebanon, but that's literally. Spiritually, it's the deeper meaning is that it flows from the Chokhmah and Bina of the essence of the Neshama into the part of the Neshama that's in the body.
Rabbi Majeski, is Lebanon's part of Eretz Yisrael after Moshe?
Lebanon, I think it is, yeah. And I know the whole thing, but part of it for sure.
Talks about it.
What?
Talks about it in Torah, like about.
Yeah. No, because I remember when there was the war with Lebanon in the 1980s, unfortunately, again, one of those tragic stories where the success the Israeli army had was beyond belief. Within a few days, they went right through the whole country. In those days, the terrorists were not like today, nowhere anywhere near. The numbers much smaller, but they went all the way up to, Beirut, the capital of Lebanon. And they could have conquered the place, done whatever needed to do. And the politicians, as usual, were afraid the international outcry of people that are not going to be happy, as if they're happy with anything we do. They're not even happy that we exist, but anyway, they're not going to be happy, and they pulled out. I'm pretty sure the Rebbe then said that just going in there is already part of a hachana of Israel getting the other three countries. So I think Lebanon is one of them. So what does it mean v'neizla min Levanon? Zehu v'neizla min Levanon, the Levanon, from Levanon, which is the etzem and the neshama, which contains in it chachma bina. Neizel v'neitiv v'neshama malavesh the guf. It flows to the neshama that's in the body, and the neshama in the body consciously will feel that it's receiving light and energy from the part of the neshama that's the maila. For example, thoughts of tshuva, the thoughts of tshuva that come to a person sometimes without any preparation. They didn't really sort of work on it, like working on doing tshuva, but just out of the blue. And he gives an example. We see the it's not that a person sits down by a sefer and says to himself, I want to become inspired. Let me read what it says here about tshuva, and does something to generate those feelings. Then it's understood. But here's a person walking in the street like everybody else. His mind isn't even on the subject. And all of a sudden, thoughts of tshuva will come into his mind. And as a result of that, he gives a very deep sigh, from the depth of his heart. And where does it come from? Like, what caused him to have a hira tshuva? It's not that he was learning a sefer. It's not that he was sitting by a fabrengen. It's not that he heard someone else speak or he watched someone else doing tshuva. Here is that these thoughts come from the neshama l'mayla. Shemas hachruz, that here is the announcement. Shuvu bonim shevavim. So what he's referring to is something that we find in Pirkei Avos. Here we can look at page 35. In Pirkei Avos, no, this is Gemara. Pirkei Avos is a different one. In Gemara, it says that there's a basko, there's a heavenly voice that comes out every day, and the heavenly voice says, Shuvu banim shevavim, which means my wild children who went off and deviated from the path, you should do tshuva. The Gemara is talking here about Acher. He's the one that he was initially a Tana, and then he became a heretic, and he heard the heavenly voice, and the heavenly voice said, everybody do tshuva except for Acher. Tshuva is not going to help you. That's a story in itself. But there's a heavenly voice that comes out every day and says, Shuvu bonim shevavim. In Pirkei Avos, there's another heavenly voice that talks about, that says, Oilem lebrius melbein shel Torah. Woe to those people that they embarrass the Torah, that the Torah is there and they neglect it. And of course, the question is obvious, and the question is, who is the voice for? If it's for tzaddikim or heavenly voices, they don't need it. They're already in a good place. If it's for ordinary people that need this voice to encourage them to do the right thing, but if they're not tzaddikim, they don't hear the heavenly voice. So who's it for? So the Baal Shem Tov answers that these voices are in the heaven, but the neshama l'mayla hears the voice. And the neshama l'mayla hears the voice and gets inspired. That inspiration flows to the neshama down here. So again, we're not just saying something's going on a deep subconscious level. Something's going on a deep subconscious level, and as a result of that, I feel different consciously. And that's where the thoughts of tshuva come from. The same could also be with Torah thoughts, especially something which is a new innovation, a new idea in Torah, like an answer to a question. And a person also can sometimes find that the thought comes to him suddenly. In other words, again, I could be sitting and working on a subject and doing research, and I look here and I look there, and I come to an answer to a question, but sometimes you're not in the subject. In fact, you're doing something else, and all of a sudden the thought comes to you, oh, that's what that means. How does that happen? So he says, there's the yeshiva Lamaila in Shemayim. It's called Mesifta de Rakia, the yeshiva of the heaven. The essence of neshama is in that heavenly yeshiva. It's learning Torah, and it hears Torah thoughts, and sometimes noisel and native that flows to the neshama down here, and the neshama down here gets an answer to a question. Something. Oh, now it makes sense. By the way, we see this a lot of things that you're trying to remember something you don't remember, and then an hour later, oh, it just came to me. I remember it. But that's because you tried to remember it. So it's in your memory. And even though you can't get it, but your memory is, in the meantime, processing. It's a little bit slow, like the computer sometimes. It's turning and turning and turning, and nothing's happening. And then an hour later, boom, it pops out. Oh, that's the guy I'm looking for. But over here, we're talking about a person who's not doing that. He's totally disconnected and not on the subject. And all of a sudden, an explanation to something in Torah comes to him. And of course, this is what we explained last time, that a person could be inspired on Shabbos, be inspired on Yom Tov, on Pesach, Shavuos, and these inspirations come because the Neshama L'Maila sees, on these days, there's a very, very big Gili of the Kuz, godliness is revealed in an unusual way. The Neshama L'Maila sees it, the Neshama L'Maila experiences it, and gets all excited. This is the explanation why a person could go to the Eretz Yisrael, go to the Kotel, and again, without explanation, get all excited. And the same happened by the Rebbe, where people would come to the Rebbe, and they would get all excited. Usually, this would happen, oh, the Rebbe said something which related to my life, okay, but sometimes it's not even that. Just being in the presence of the Rebbe could bring a person to be inspired, and they can't even explain why. We had a student once that spoke, and going back many years ago, and she said that she wasn't really interested in the learning, in Chabad, it wasn't her thing. But what happened was she had a cousin. She was a big intellectual, women's liber, and all the progressive things. She had a cousin who she would apparently be in touch with, and she wanted her cousin to stop smoking. The cousin was already involved. So the cousin said to her, you know what? If you make a commitment to go to Chabad, I'll stop smoking. So she did it, not l'shma, she did it for her cousin to stop smoking. So she went to the Chabad house. I don't know if it was for a long period or just a short period, but I do know that shortly after she went to the Chabad house, that Chabad house made a trip to 770 for Shabbos, a weekend. In those days, the Rebbe was giving out dollars. But again, she was totally far from it. So she said she walked by the Rebbe, she got $1, and after she walked out, she just broke down crying. So I have no idea why was I crying. She said, they come with the cameras and they watch people getting dollars. They should come with cameras outside when people leave the Rebbe's room, see what they look like. But she didn't know why she was crying. But actually, this experience turned her around, and later she became a student there. But why was she crying? And the answer is because when you're in the presence of a tzaddik, there's holiness, there's kedusha there, then your neshama sees it and feels it. And if you're fortunate to be able to feel what your neshama is feeling, something will happen to the person consciously. Yes, there could be other people. They walk by the same Rebbe, and nothing happens. Why is that? Because their connection, for some reason or other, is not the same. They're not so connected. So the Neshama L'Maila is feeling one thing. Down here, I feel nothing. There's a deeper reason, by the way. And the deeper reason is the neshama of the Rebbe is the essence and neshama of every single yid in the generation. So you're mamish in close contact with our essence. And that's the reason why the neshama gets aroused and gets excited. And that's another discussion, which we'll address in Mirz Hashem a little bit later. So this is the whole point, that there's the etzem, there's the hara neshama that's in the guf, and the more they're connected with each other, the more the neshama in the guf will be able to feel what the neshama l'mayla is feeling. And it says, Yaakov Chevanach Losid, there's another pasuk where it says Yaakov is like a rope. It's referring to Yaakov Avinu and all Yidden that we're like we are like, we inherit Torah mitzvahs and we're connected to Hashem. It's one continuation like a rope. But there's a mashal there. There's a metaphor why we use the rope. Just like a rope. If a rope is tied up to something up there, and it's also hanging down here. So one end is there, one end is here. When we move the part that's down here, so this causes the part of the rope that's up there to move. I mean, if you have something that's connected, let's say, to a curtain up there, you can't reach it. It's all the way up there, high ceiling. But you pull the bottom part, so the top part moves, and that pulls the curtain, pull the bottom part of the rope. So the same was with the neshama. Shaydei, his seiris, haris, and neshama, b'terem mitzvahs. When, just like we said before, that from up there it could flow down here, we could also do the reverse. When down here I become inspired with Torah mitzvahs through my effort, learning and davening and concentrating, I work on generating a feeling, bislavas gedela, with a strong inspiration, ba'aveda shebelev, I do the avodah in the heart, b'mesira v'nesina, really dedicating myself, b'kiras halev, from the depth of my heart. In other words, we're not talking about just superficially saying the words of davening, but to work on feeling as an emotion in my davening, feeling something towards Hashem. So when I shake the part of the rope that's down here, this was the question you asked before. How do you get to the etzem and neshama? Lech lecha, la'atzmacha. It means the etzem and neshama. So the ultimate goal is that I, with my avodah, should be able to reach the essence of my neshama. And then the essence of my neshama, once I reach it and make more connected, then I'm going to feel more of what my essence and neshama feels. So even though we can't really explain what's the difference, why could two people go to the same Shabbos table? Could be two sisters going to the same Shabbos table. One gets inspired and one is not inspired. And sometimes if you're really fortunate, the other one gets turned off. The same Shabbos table. So the one that gets inspired is because the neshama l'mayla feels the holiness and feels the godliness, and that inspires the person. But what about the other person? So the answer is, obviously, there's something blocking. In other words, if there's anything blocking, then what the neshama l'mayla feels doesn't flow to the neshama l'mata. And now we're aveda, when a person davens and learns and does something which is self-refinement, we are unblocking the pipes, and that allows whatever the neshama l'mayla has, it should flow more smoothly down to the neshama l'mata. Yeah.
Is it connected with like klipot, the neshama has klipot, or it's connected with the source of the neshama?
If what's connected, when it doesn't work?
Whatever, like both, like.
No, when the neshama l'mayla is not klipa, it's pure. And neshama shenatata li tahirei. But the klipa could be blocking that the neshama l'mayla can't reach neshama l'mata. Yeah. Got it? Okay. So let's see which let's go to the before we go to the next one, let's go to the terms again.
So Rabbi Majeski, so how would, how does that blockage get removed from somebody that's just from Hashem? Like, if there's a people, whatever, blocking that Hashem-less connection?
So one of the ideas is, and of course it says here when you get all excited, but it proves any mitzvah that a person does has a certain effect on opening that blockage. Which means, let's say you do miftzayim, and someone like Shabbos kennels, a man puts on tefillin, only one time. One of the reasons why this could lead to doing more Torah mitzvahs is because that mitzvah has an effect on opening up that blockage, and then more things start happening. This is the deeper meaning of mitzvah gereres mitzvah. When you do one mitzvah, it could lead you to another mitzvah, because every mitzvah makes the person more refined and eliminates anything that could be blocking, or at least to some extent. And then more, it's like having a window that's smeared up with some black dust or whatever, and any little bit that you clean up, more light can come in. So there are things that are blocking, and anything we do, which is Torah or mitzvahs, makes it more transparent that when the Neshama Ma'ila is feeling can come to the Neshama Lamata.
Could I help, for example, the person who has klipos and she doesn't want to purify her life from klipos and get reached to Hashem? Could I help her? Like, could I be the one who will help her to get rid of these klipos?
Yeah,
So
of course.
It's not just like, that everyone has his own klipos and his own avoid that he's working for.
Yeah, everyone has their avodah, so I can do they're the ones who have to, do the work, so to speak. But I could help that person either by learning with them, encouraging them to do a mitzvah, answer their questions. That's what Mitzvahim is all about. In other words, the real truth behind Mitzvahim is it's not that I'm the one who inspired this person to become frum. That's not really what's happening. Their own neshama is inspiring them. When I learn with them, or I do a mitzvah with them, or I answer a question, all I'm doing is I'm helping remove the blockage, and then their own neshama is what makes them be who they are.
But for example, if person is not encouraged to be involved in all this Yiddishkeit things, he doesn't want to be and anything, could I learn instead of him, so to speak? Could I learn in his own
merit, in his chus?
Yeah, in his chus, to
100%. Yeah, just like we say about the soldiers in Israel, that if I learn Torah or I put on tefillin, I think this should protect him. Same thing with Torah study, that we could. I remember years ago when Russia was the way it was, the Iron Curtain. One of the sikhs that ever said, being that they don't have the opportunity to learn Torah, so we should have in mind when we learn Torah that I'm learning this in the schus for those Yidden behind the Iron Curtain that can't learn Torah. So yes, I could learn Torah for someone, I could do mitzvahs for someone, and it could have an effect on refining that person. Don't tell them that you're doing it. Okay. So these are the words which are, like I said, the Hasidic terms. We did number 1, we did number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Man de nafach mitachei nafach. What does that mean?
When Hashem, who the neshama says he proves the essence of himself.
Right. The only thing is, it doesn't only mean Hashem, it means anybody. When a person blows, they're flowing from their essence. So number 5 is a quote from the Zohar. Number 6, the continuation is from Tanya. Techiyusay upnimiyusay. That it comes from the deeper inner essence of a person when he blows. Number 7, hamshacha. What does that mean? Draw down. Atzmusa yizbarach.
The essence of Hashem.
The essence. Tihiru ilah. So I didn't really explain. I just said it's a level up there, which is called the pure supernal level, but that's where the neshama comes from. So when you see the word mazel haneshama, what is it referring to? The mazel of the neshama? Right. And this quote, Afagav the evil chazi mazlayo chazi. So we know what it means. Let me just show you how it's in the words. Afagav means even though. Ihu lo chazi, he doesn't see. Mazlayo, his mazel chazi sees. Number 12, when it says ayin, what is that referring to?
Infinity, the first 4 years, creation.
Right, the source. Number 13, etzem haneshama. Thirteen and 17. What's 13 and what's 17?
So as it, yeah.
What?
Because it's like
It's the essence of the neshama, the part of the neshama that stays l'mayla. Ha'aras haneshama means the reflection or the light of the neshama. That's the part that comes down l'mata. Number 14, lamed beis nesivis chochma, nun sharei bina. Right, so nesivos means paths, and sharei means gates. I'm sure that's also very precise. Why here we use the word path, here we use the word gates. 15, chub, very, very common acronym in Chassidus. Chub, what does it stand for? Yep, Chachma Bina. What's 16? Hirurei Tshuva.
thinking about you.
Thoughts of Tshuva, right? 18.
17.
17 we said before. Remember we said 13 and 17 go together. So what's 18? Mesifta de Rakia. Right, Mesifta means the yeshiva. And Rakia means in heaven. Then in Shemayim there's a yeshiva, there's a Rosh Yeshiva, there's students, and they have shiurim.
Who's the Rosh Hashiva?
Rabbi Majeski. In 15, why did you lose the ad? It's just Chokman Bina.
So why we lose what?
Das.
Oh, why das?
Why there's no that?
Because it's referring, sometimes we talk about all three, and sometimes we talk about only the two. Chachma Bina.
I said that you always need to speak like for three, like Chabad.
Well, because das has a little bit different function than Chachma Bina. Chachma Bina go together, and das is different. Okay. Let's now go to base. At least we'll start. However, in order to make that connection between the essence of the neshama that's not limited by the body, the ma'or is neshama with the light of the neshama, the reflection of the neshama that's in the body, this could be b'shnei efanus chabros. This could be two ways. Like the mashal that's brought down in many Maimarim, it said two people. One is on top of the mountain, and one is at the foot of the mountain. How could they come together? Two possibilities. Really, there's three. One possibility is that the one on top of the mountain comes down to the one that's in the bottom. The other possibility is that the one that's in the bottom climbs up to the one that's on top. The third possibility is that they meet somewhere in the middle. I'll meet you halfway. You come down here and I'll go up there. But generally, these are the two ways. So the same with the neshama l'mayla, The part of the neshama is up there on top of the mountain. Part of the neshama is down here at the bottom of the mountain. And how could we connect? Either down here goes up, or what's up there comes down. And now he's going to explain what these two sort of avodas are. In Mumayla Lamata, it could be Mumayla Lamata. That means from up down. And this is what we said before. Hazola v'hatafa, the flowing of the essence of the neshama, nezla min levanin. Biharis and neshama, amaluvej beguf, it flows to the part of the neshama that's in the body. The other possibility is, like we said before, mamata l'mayla, from down up. The Yaakov Chevan Achalosei, using the analogy of the rope, that la'orer etzman neshama shalamayla, that I shake things up down here, and that shakes things up there. And he's going to explain how this is connected to davening. Okay, we'll stop here then. Okay. You did part of the attendance?
I did part of it.
Yeah, so I'll do the rest.
Get it. Thank you, Majeski.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question for you.